Hey Scorpio, how's everybody doing today? I hope that you're doing well, and I can't wait to begin our October 2020 reading. A lot of great messages came through for the sign this morning, and we're gonna look at the month ahead and hopefully give you everything that you need to be fully empowered and ready. I'm gonna put this sweet little lovely being down. This is Apollo if you haven't met him before, and we're gonna get started here. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and as I said, we'll be looking at the sign of Scorpio for the month of October. This is designed so that you can use it for your sun, your rising, as well as for your moon sign. And you can watch on behalf of someone in your life as well. I know some readers won't allow cross-watching. I think it's fine. It's a way to kind of really learn more about what's going on in the different parts of your sign and for people that you care about in your life. The way that I organize this forecast is in four main parts. We'll begin in just a moment here with the channeled messages and just a sneak peek. Before every reading, I basically will meditate and pull together anything that I've received in dreams, in meditation, or in that moment. And I really try to bring that together in a way that makes sense for you. And so after we go through the channeled message, which is all the psychic downloads, then we'll go into the Celtic Cross and take a look at all of the sort of tactical things that will be coming through, the high points, the challenges, and all of the choices that you have to make in any given month. I let that be a very organic thing. It's not focused solely in one area, but I do allow for some focus when we go to the expanded forecast where we look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. After that, a quick review, and then we'll go into the soul path, which is unique for every reading, just like the meditation that follows it. In the soul path, we'll be looking at things past, present, and future, basically areas of the soul where there's a lot of growth that can be done. It won't necessarily just be for the month at hand. It's really for the rest of the year, and it sets you into a positive trajectory. And then again, like I said, we will do a meditation and a sound bath to wrap it all up and to integrate all of the work that we've done. And that's everything in a nutshell. Before I get started, let me just quickly mention how I handle Super Chat. First of all, it's very much welcome. It allows me to continue to update supplies, get new materials. And if you want to do that, you can use the little $ icon next to the emojis. If you're watching this on replay, there's a little heart icon by the up and down arrows. And that's a new way that you can give back. That's called applaud or applause. And anyway, if you're watching it live, however, I don't interrupt the flow of the reading to answer questions. So a lot of times people will ask, oh, I just have one question about this or that. I don't do that because it takes me out of the intuitive flow. Plus, it's not a lot of fun to listen to later if it's not pertaining to you. So there are separate Q&A sessions that I'll do sometimes once or twice a year. This is not one of them. This is a general reading for the sign of Scorpio for the month of October. Special thanks to Maria and Ryan, who will be the moderators here that can help answer high-level questions. They're both amazing. Treat them with respect, and they'll help you out as you need it. All right, let's get started. So this morning, as I was starting to get ready, I saw this sort of like this big ocean in front of me as I was meditating. And to me, that shows me like an ocean of opportunity. For some of you, it can sort of feel overwhelming, though, because there's a lot to take in. And a lot of what's coming through in the first area is how to kind of like organize, strategize, and basically get together sort of a plan of attack for this. So that's really kind of what it was. There's a certain deck, I'm not using it today. I think it's the Wizard's Tarot, but or maybe, yeah, that or Anna Kay. One of those has a Queen of Swords card and a King of Swords card where they kind of show the strategizing that comes into it. And that image popped into my mind today. So think one or two steps ahead of the present moment. It's really about being prepared. And sometimes we're too focused on just sort of the ephemeral stuff that's going on in our life, the day-to-day sort of mundane stuff. And I think what's really important to be an effective, successful, and I would even say sort of happy individual is to know where you're headed and to set some milestones. You can always change them. You can move it to this direction, to that direction, but it's really effective to know where you're going. And if you're thinking a couple steps ahead, if you get thrown a curveball, it's no longer something that makes you uncomfortable or uncertain because you can deal with it. You've kind of thought through plan B, plan C, and there's multiple things that you can kind of use in your arsenal. Also, when you know where you're headed and what you're doing, synchronicities will start to open up, and you're going to have, we were talking about the oceans, you're going to also save oceans of time later by just doing some of the prep work now. And let's face it, most of us don't like to sit and plan or think or move ahead like that. There are a few of us out there that do, but a lot of times it's like, I just want to get started. Let's get into this. The strategy is going to help. So take some time. I'm going to talk a little bit later, even like a small amount each morning or each evening can have a big effect. And we'll talk more in a little bit about that. One of the other things that's important this month is to address any sort of communication issues that might be popping up as you're working, either with family or at work or even with yourself, basically staying accountable, staying honest, and being transparent. So Seven of Swords usually only creates an issue if you let it fester, or if you let someone get away with something, basically. So if something's going on and let's say a friend, a family member, a coworker said they were going to do something, they're not showing up and actually participating the way they were supposed to, really try to be transparent and honest about that and say, this is something you said you're going to do. We need help on this. Can I count on you? And if you can't, then figure out what you can do and release that person. While you're doing this, try to find an honest, encourage the honesty, but also try to find a common ground. So sometimes if we're just pointing fingers, it doesn't make sense. You could say, it looks like there's a lot going on in your life. What can I do to help? You could be more proactive, but bringing it to the sort of focus, the focal point, I think is really, really key. So for you want to keep a clear head this month so you can do that planning, so you can do that strategizing. And something like this can kind of get in the way of that. So that's something to keep in mind. The second central theme was of balance. And in particular, I was seeing opportunities that could pull you between a leadership opportunity at school or at work, or maybe if you're retired, something in the community that you really want to take on, and then your home life or your personal life. And it's interesting because personal growth, I think, is a big, important area that your sign wants to focus on. So I don't think it has to be like a mutually exclusive sort of thing. Like you don't have to just do one or the other. It's really a matter of figuring out on any given day, how much am I going to put into this? And I can't let that go either. So that open communication that I was just talking about is going to be key. And if you're counting on people to help, like with childcare, or to help, around the house, or to even just kind of give you assistance in other parts of your life, when you're trying to multitask, that person becomes more important. And so imparting that trust and that reliance on them, if something falls short with them, I think that's going to be the effective things. Just say, I really trust you and I need your help right now. What can we do to make this work? And that's a more powerful way of dealing with the Seven of Swords than you said you were going to do it and you did it. So let's fix this. It's clear that you need some help and I need some help. How can we make it work? So let's just recap what I was saying here. Balance is your central theme, I would actually say, this month. There's some leadership opportunities at work or at school. And again, maybe if you're retired, you're deciding to take something on. You're going to have some growth and opportunities within the family life, though. So for some of you, if you're single, you could meet someone. If you're married, your partner may also be experiencing some things where they need some assistance. So you're being tugged in a couple of directions. The answer to this is to work smarter. There are only so many hours in a given day. More is not always more. Sometimes working less, but working more effectively and efficiently during those hours is going to be key. If you're at a company or you're working with a boss that won't support that, then obviously you have to, if you're counting on that for abundance, you have to stay. But there might be a long-term sort of nudge to look for something else. So if you try to ask for what you need and you're not given that support, that's a clear sign from the universe that this probably isn't the most supportive place. We don't always have choices. This is a difficult economy. We can't afford to kind of walk away from jobs. But as I was saying, strategizing, you could think, well, maybe I'll just stay around for another year or two. I'm going to start looking at the long term. Maybe I'll go back to school. Maybe I'm going to reach out to some of those contacts that I've lost touch with and start to strategize of an escape plan. It doesn't happen overnight. You don't want to put yourself in a tower moment, but you can start to rebuild and to create something in the future for yourself. What you can do right now is establish limits. There is only so much any of us can do in any given day. So at a certain point, you want to give options too. It's like give and take. You can say, yes, I can do this today. This is going to have to wait till tomorrow. You don't even have to ask sometimes. That's a way to sort of push it and just say, sure, would you like to handle this today, or should I just handle it tomorrow? If they say they need it both today or something like that, just say, no, you have to choose. You let me know which you would like me to focus on. And you just kind of stand firm in that. And hopefully that will help, and it will start to sort of establish you as someone that people can't push around or walk on. The other thing is you're going to be happier, healthier, and probably do a better job at the one thing than trying to spread yourself over 2, 3, 5, 10, whatever you're trying to juggle. Less is more. Focus on those things. If you're not in a work situation and it's just a matter of yourself kind of deciding, I want to try this, I want to try this, it's kind of like a 7 of Cups reversed moment where you've got to empty out some of that stuff in your head and focus on just a few. As I was saying, relationships are starting to factor in. I've been noticing a lot of relationship energy popping up over the month of October, and your sign is no exception to that. There's a new cycle of growth and development. This is what's happening with many of you. So if you've been in one for a while, there is a chance that it could get more serious. So if you've been dating someone for a while, one or both of you are starting to think like, where's this going? Like, are we on this for the long haul, or is it time to look for something else? And that's kind of what the next card says. It's a make it or break it month where you really decide on what is this investment of time and energy doing for the two of us? Are we actually getting something out of it? Change isn't always a bad thing. It can actually bring it to a deeper level. And for those of you that have been single but happy, something might come into your life that challenges that notion. There's a lot of challenge with this month. It's an opportunity that's presented to you. Nothing good, nothing bad necessarily has to come of it. It's the universe saying, you've been in this for a while. Is this what you still want? We're constantly being shown choices, and whatever your decision is in that is going to factor in to what happens. One of the things that's going to be important is the relationship with yourself, of course, and personal growth is one of the other central tenets of this month. We have education, self-improvement. You don't have to go back to school to learn or to be better at something. But in general, it's about trying to build your skills or build yourself up a little bit. And it's really it's really a good time to take that on during the month of October. So don't be afraid to do that. I'd like to say, if you're watching this live, there may also be some messages that are pertinent right now. As we look at the cards, the deep past and the recent past will definitely resonate, but any of these messages in the channel portion could definitely have some sort of I guess it could be a little bit more relevant right now if you're watching. Please don't get lost in the shuffle. If you are either in a family with like a lot of voices or in a company where there's a lot of big personalities, your voice, your opinion matters. And in a relationship maybe where the other partner tends to be the one that speaks up more, gets more of their way, or is the one that's kind of pushing things forward a little bit more, this is a reminder that not only is it important, but appropriate for you to find that common ground, that balance this month as well. What I would love for you to try this month, my guides were challenging me to challenge you to set aside time every day. I was thinking of the different amounts of time that would work. You can't do anything in 5 or 10 minutes. 15, you get a sort of start on it, but 20 minutes is a good amount where you can actually work on meditation, researching something, creating something, writing something. It's a nice little chunk of time. And if you do the math, you can actually get an extra 10 hours over the whole month by doing 20 minutes a day. So I'm giving your sign a 20-minute challenge. I'm setting aside about 20 minutes. If you want to go half an hour, go for it. It's even better. But 20 to 30 minutes a day to move the needle forward on something. If you're looking for a new home, sit there and look at online listings. If you're wanting to go back to school, research the programs. If you want to write a book, sit and try to write, half a page or a page a day. If you're trying to do anything in your life, that is going to add up. And I wanted to show you the math, and I'm bad at math. So I picked nice round numbers, but like 20 times 30 equals 600. And if you take those minutes and basically divide it out by hours, 60 minutes in an hour, you're going to get 10 hours. That's a lot. That's almost a full work day. So you could essentially create one extra day of time where you could do stuff by doing 20 minutes a day in the morning, in the evening, on your lunch break, whatever. Set that time aside, get away from other people. And if you have to, like, turn off the internet connection or something to focus while you're doing it so that you don't end up like surfing some site that's going to distract you from all of this. So focus, set that aside. And this is actually what I do is when I want to watch TV, I don't. This TV behind me is usually off all the time. And it's an old, outdated one that I need to replace one of these days, but I don't watch it enough. So when I want to do that, I'm like, yeah, I really have to go focus on something else. I think that you'd be surprised how you could create new time in your schedule. Same way many of you make time to work out. I want you to work out your head this month. So either in meditation or in creating or moving something forward in your life. This will give you the development that you need. And you'll be surprised if you keep doing this every month. You'll start to want a little bit more time and you'll find more time and you can really make some amazing strides on things. Even as a busy mom or dad or someone that maybe has 2 or 3 jobs, I have 3 jobs, you can do it, okay? Let's go ahead now and focus on the last set of messages that came through, and then we'll get into the cards here. So the hard work that I was talking about is actually really important because think of this as 8 of Pentacles, right? The apprenticeship, the learning, the attention to details. That is a good return on effort or return on energy kind of card. Whatever you're investing in that, you will get back. So start to invest in the bank of you this month and do something. And we're not entitled to anything in this lifetime. I was talking to Libra about this yesterday. We do set up certain advantages because of past lives. So if we've learned a lot about music or art or writing or medicine, sometimes in this lifetime, you come through and it's just easy. But we shouldn't rest on the coattails of the past life. We should try to build so that we keep getting stronger each lifetime as a soul. Otherwise, we're just we're stagnating. We can even go a step back, and you don't want to do that. So work hard, work as long as you can, work hard. And then the universe pays back in kind. Ask for help this month if you need it. Help others if you can. This also pays off in a nice way. And I've noticed this. Yesterday I had a frustration because I was trying to get some work done and I had to help somebody, but I just helped somebody. And then all of a sudden I had the most productive evening that I've had in a month. And there was a kind of payback. I needed to do what I needed to do in both areas. So sometimes, even if you're rushed, even if you're crazy, help someone out, take 5 minutes or take an hour. That might come back threefold to you later and you'll just have a really great experience. So help if you can, ask for help if you need it. That asking is super important because, especially, I didn't write this down. Actually, I did. Okay, here it is. Let people know what you need and want, set expectations. This is kind of like in business, it would be a metric for success, right? If you're in a love relationship with someone or even just a work relationship, if they don't know how you function, what your expectations are, or what you want from them, it's really difficult for them to show up the way you need them to. So this is not saying be a dictator. It's just saying, oh, I really, really appreciated that you did that. And if something didn't work, you could also communicate saying, this was a little frustrating. What if we tried this? I think it would work better with my communication style, whatever. You can find a way that it doesn't sound so prescribed, but speaking up and talking a little bit about what you're happy about, what frustrates you, what you're looking for, it's nice. And especially for people that have a hard time with communication themselves, it's just sort of like you've given them Cliff's Notes or a cheat sheet. They know exactly kind of what to do, and you're going to have more success because of that. So speak up, okay? This also helps create trust and harmony in relationships and across all relationships. So the way that I read the energy of love is it can be love between parents and children, it can be love between best friends, it can be love relationships or coworkers. Love is the language of the universe. When we look at the cards, we'll get some context, but when I mention that sort of stuff, I want to just let you know that it's a currency we can all use, and it's how we feel about ourselves as well. All right, so those are the main messages, but just to kind of talk about the main words that I'm looking at: strategizing, super important; balance, really important; changes and development in relationships as well; and then also speaking up a little bit. One last card that I almost forgot, and this was the message that I got in dreams this morning. Don't limit yourself because of your age. If you think you're too young or too old for something, that's possibly an excuse unless there's a physical limitation. Try it anyway, and go for it. I have a cool mentor that I'm working with where I was reading her bio and somebody told her she couldn't do something because she was too young. Ageism works in both ways. It's not always because of being too old. So surprise people, show them that they don't know what they're talking about by being successful and by going after the hope or the dream or the idea that you have, because it's just as valid, irrespective of your age. we're ancient beings basically, and our soul age is the thing that matters the most. So this physical age, not so important, and people really don't know the depth of your soul. Only you do. Okay. Let's get into the reading now. At this point, I like to remain quiet, so please just remain patient. Afterwards, I'm going to pull up each and every card, and we'll get into great depth about what that means for you. All right? Thanks. And by the way, if you just joined, I want to welcome you. I have another card that landed on the floor that I'm going to bring in here. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for giving me a second to get set up here. As you saw, the first deck fell, and there was one card that stayed on the floor beneath me. So we'll talk about the first card that I'm seeing here, and it's about discovery. The catalyst functions as a way for you to stay in the highest possible energy in any given month. And one of the things for you this month is not to limit yourself. And we were talking a little bit about that, to always sort of be exploring and looking at new ways to do things. So I like this. This is basically an expansion card, and a sort of there's also an energy of being able to sort of like go and try new things. So with that ocean card that I was looking at, there was definitely that feeling of like, I want to explore. I want to see what this has in store for me. So don't limit yourself. Don't be afraid to go after something that matters. And the other piece of this that wanted to volunteer by the deck flying on the floor, as you saw, was Poseidon here, which is to go with the flow. It's not always going to be easy. Sometimes you're going to be presented with a challenge. The challenge could actually bring you to a solution that you didn't think about, or to a new person in your life that you hadn't anticipated working with. So sometimes you discover something by going through an unexpected path or twist and a turn in that journey. And these two energies are your catalyst message this month. And we'll look at that a little bit more. The other thing with Poseidon is really to focus on your emotional and energetic flow there. So how you feel is definitely going to affect what's possible and what you can do this month. So try to use that creative flow to the best of your ability as well. Let's go ahead now and take a look at your center card. And we do have a card here about meditating and listening to yourself. And I see some folks talking about having a hard time focusing. This is your answer here. I like this Hierophant because it actually reminds me, it's yoga basically. And it's a much different sort of interpretation of what the Hierophant can be. It doesn't have to be sort of like a traditional religion or thing like that. When we're looking at this is just one way to organize your thoughts or mind. And to me, the Hierophant is a structural card. So basically setting up a new hierarchy this month, or a new way of organizing things, that's going to be important. And if something isn't working, or if you're having a hard time focusing, what you want to do is change your environment up a little bit, or change your process a bit. It doesn't have to be standard or typical or expected. In fact, it's probably better if it's not. And that's what we see with this. So thinking outside of the box, and really going within and just kind of quieting all of those competing voices is going to be key. Okay. Smaller groups also very important. So if you find that sometimes you just get lost in that crowd, asking maybe for a small breakout group would be better because more voices can be heard in those little small breakout groups if you're at school or work, or even if you're in a big family. Get a couple people that can make the decision rather than pulling every single voice in the room into it, because sometimes that just creates chaos and disorder. We have the Lovers right on top of this. So I love that there's a chance this month to bring relationship harmony. And some of that harmony just comes through active listening. But the other thing with this is by setting up those limits and those expectations. This is a corporate card. It's, like I said, also a structural card. So when I know what to do, how to do something, and what someone expects, then it's easier for me to please them and for them to please me. So goals, boundaries, expectations, all of that is going to help with this. And also, some of you might experience love in an unexpected place. So you might be at work or school or even some other sort of organizational event, and it's sort of like you meet someone or you connect with someone, you can make a new friend, or maybe this is a love interest. So there's a little bit of an overlap of work and relationship, which I was seeing also in all of the channeled messages earlier. So do your best to navigate that. Of course, there can be some trickiness in that respect, especially if there's any policies, if you're still working, and this is something to be mindful of. But I do like that we saw the Lovers at the center, so that does mean that there could be a deepening of relationships. The Hierophant's a very traditional card, so some of you might be looking for a traditional relationship as well, and this is just a confirmation of that. Looking at the deep past and also the recent past, which is going to be very relevant for anyone that's watching live. First, the deep past. This is the Seven of Cups energy that I was talking about, reversed. It's time to clear your head out a little bit. The daydreaming is good to a point. I think that when the card is upright, it's really about development, exploration, not limiting yourself. When it's reversed, it's actually saying, all right, all of this on a constant basis can make it difficult for me to decide today what my focal point should be. Where can I make the most impact? That could be the first question. If you're not sure what to do, what can I be most effective at? What can I get done first? This is a good way to sort of check things off your list. If you're looking for the triage approach, then it's what is most important. It may take precedence over the easy things to do. So, back when I used to have a corporate job, if there was a deadline with money attached to it and it had to be done like tomorrow, I would prioritize that one to make sure that we didn't miss the deadline. And then if there was something that was due next week that I could do it in 5 minutes, I would not do it because that would put that at risk. So you have to kind of balance both ease of completion with what is expected of you. So prioritization and maybe a combination of those two, looking at triage approach, who's counting on me, what's at stake, and then maybe how quickly can I check this off. If you're in a restaurant, again, if someone ordered their food an hour ago and you're cooking something for someone that just came in, that's not going to go well either, even if it's going to be faster. Sometimes you got to get that other order out. So balancing out those expectations, there's no easy choices sometimes. So you're going to have to try to please the right person at the right time, but you're not going to please everybody. Okay. So smart choices. This was again about working smarter. You can't put everything, if you're cooking, you can't cook everything at once. You're going to kind of stagger it so that it's all warm and ready at the same time. Does that make sense? I hope it does. That's how you can clear out your mind. That's how you can clear out your to-do list. And if you're daydreaming too much, again, changing the environment is going to be really key. So sometimes there's too much distractions in the background. I heard some stuff going on behind me even right now. And so when that happens, you have to kind of find a way to tune it out, okay? So next thing, we're looking at the Six of Swords in reverse. This is an overdue change. This is one that's already happening. Maybe so much so that you have to start to pay attention to it now. So hopefully you're in the flow of this movement. This can be leaving a job, leaving a relationship. It can be plans for travel, or again, just change, but it's happening. To me, it feels like sometimes we wait and wait and wait for something in our life to come to fruition also. And then when it does, it feels like you're running to catch up with it. The chariot's already going down the hill and you're trying to pull it back a little bit. So my advice to you is to stay on top of things. And if you know that something needs to be done or it's going to happen anyway, have the conversation, be involved with it. Don't let something fall away. This can also be a breakup sort of energy here, because we have two that would show that. We have Six of Swords and Three of Swords. To me, this is a good situation to walk away from, because clearly in the crowning position, your happiness is super important. And if you're not happy, this is saying honor that. Do something you know you should have done a long time ago and release whatever this is. This can also just be pain from the past, disappointment, or a feeling of anxiety. All of these things are ready to fall out, thank goodness, this month. So do that if you need to. Notice on this Three of Swords, there's a journal there. And one of the things that I think some of you might have already kind of realized is that this has been, you get a chance to rewrite your story this month. So if something hasn't felt good and you were playing a role that you were kind of cast in by your parents, by your former partner, by someone in your life, you are the author to your own life story, to your soul, to your heart. And this is saying, like, reclaim that and decide, that's not my role. That's not what I want to do. So decide who you are this month, because if you don't know who you are, how can anybody in your life kind of show up and support you the way you need it? So you be authentic this month and everything is going to work out just fine. And even if there's a little bit of initial frustration, pain, or sacrifice, it's going to be for the betterment of your heart, your soul, your general path. So there's a necessary removal. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid. The healing's started, but you now need to sort of like move on to the next step. You can't leave the Band-Aid there forever. The center card was still love, though. So there may be a new love on the horizon, and this internal healing is going to be what brings it in. So just work on healing your heart, healing your mind, clearing your mind as well. That's going to help others that step into your sort of emotional space, your emotional house, if you will. It's going to be clear, clean, and open. Your direct communication is super important this month. The page is the gentlest of all of the swords cards to be reversed. It's basically saying, I'll get to the point. I will be direct, but I don't have to sort of be overly critical. I'm just going to say what's on my mind. So there's value to that this month. But there's also a requirement or a suggestion when this card is reversed to make sure that you're hearing what other people say as well, because pages both deliver and receive messages. So maybe someone else is trying to talk to you, but they may not have the same direct ability that you do, or vice versa. So active listening and making sure that you sort of set a safe space for these communications to happen, it's going to be really, really key. You can do it as well. I really believe that it just takes a little bit of work on both parts. Now, if there's any sort of discord going on, if any unhappiness going on, rather, it's important to get that cleared out as well. Clear the air. That's basically what we see with these two cards. Because once you do that, I actually see peace being possible. That was at the center. So if there's something that makes you unhappy, or I actually think you have a second chance to heal with somebody this month, because the Six of Swords reverse means for some reason, some of you have chosen to take a half step back and try to maybe leave a clean slate or try to reset things a little bit. So if you want to do that, that's fine. But more direct communication is going to be important. And no matter what this month, I do think it's time to move on, to explore new things, and to be direct across relationships and across opportunities. We have the Moon card in your ego. And what this is really saying this month is that some of you are starting to, and of course this is signifying you on some levels as well, because normally we would see a scorpion coming out of this water. But what I would say with this is, don't be afraid of going after your dreams. Don't be afraid of exploring the unknown. If you have a fear or an uncertainty, take a look at it. I like that the cat in this water, it's actually like a panther, and then we have like a little black cat here. So sometimes our dreams and our projections, they're a little bit warped. They can be bigger and better, and we can kind of live up to them. Sometimes they can hold us back because we're afraid of them. Realize it is just a projection. It's just a dream. It's just an intuition. So use it to inform your decisions, but it's not written in stone. So that's one of the things we see here. But notice how what we also see is the unknown strength. This little cat's looking there and seeing the panther. So that's a lot stronger. You may be able to discover a hidden strength within yourself. I'm using a Halloween themed deck for you and for some other signs this month. So that's why I'm using this one. So you'll see a lot of cats and wizards and witches in this one. Anyway, but I really like the message that's here. And ultimately, you have the ability to take flight and to go after those dreams as well. So all of the symbols in this dream, I like them a lot. And instead of notice here, normally you would have having to take sides. It's not about taking sides. Actually, sometimes the arguments or the disagreements, you're really just reflecting one another's issues. So if you can kind of acknowledge what both of you are bringing to the table and what both of you need to heal, then you're going to see how similar you are. There's more of a reflection here than a territorial energy. So this is a pretty cool moon card because we're not seeing the one way or the other, my way or the highway. I said it could be make it or break it, but this could be make it if you work on this, seeing what has held you back or has sort of caused emotions to flare up. Now, when I talked about the sort of accountability energy, the moon also has that because sometimes it can be a tricky card where someone's trying to get away with it. That's why the cat's on that. I love cats. I like dogs a little bit more, but I love cats too. But they are sneaky, right? Any of you cat owners out there, you know that they'll try to get away with anything. So this month, just realize you've got to hold yourself and others accountable, and don't do that. It's not a great month for that energy. It will probably end up coming out in the open, and that's when disagreements can happen. And with the Three of Swords in the crowning position, being honest, being accountable is really, really important. Your creativity is in a high space this month with the moon card as well, so honor that and channel it. I want you to focus a little bit on physical well-being. We have the Strength card, which is an amazing card to show your ability to do anything you set your mind to, but if it's reversed, it can be a sort of question / encouragement from the universe to maybe, it's asking you, why are you so tired? Are you putting a lot of energy in trying to make people do something, change the way they're thinking? A lot of this is about trying to move the needle forward with people that don't want to be pushed. So don't maybe overstep, don't try to mother or father someone if they don't need or want that kind of maternal paternal energy. Instead, focus internally on developing, healing, and working on yourself. Get stronger, be a leader, let people come to you when they need the help, basically. Whenever I see a leadership card, but particularly Strength, the Empress, or the Queen of Wands reverse, it's usually about needing to focus more on yourself and to set a good example. This one is very demonstrative. She's one of the most physically demonstrative cards that we have in the whole deck. She usually is dominating the creature that's in the card. So know that just because you have the ability to exert power doesn't mean that you have to. Leadership can be subtle. It's sometimes more effective when you give people room to grow, because then they feel like they can make a mistake, they can fix the mistake, they can be safe to talk to you. So whether you're a mother, a boss, a friend, or a mentor, letting people have that space creates leadership in your own ranks, in your periphery, in your just everywhere. So encourage leadership by being a strong and kind and sort of open leader yourself. But when it comes to your body as well, I would say just working out a little bit is good. The Strength card indicates more than just a walk in the park. It could be like doing some push-ups, doing some aerobics, getting the heart beating a little bit, being strong. If you're not at a point that you can do that, maybe it's working with physical therapy or just talking to your doctor about being healthy and being more fit. Emotionally this month, again, it feels like there's a little bit of a roller coaster. We have the Nine of Cups, it's reversed. And we had the Seven of Cups reversed too. So some of this is coming from anxiety. I put those two cards together, and it's not necessarily just about sadness or depression. It's about thought-induced anxiety. And so sort of thinking, sometimes we can just escalate a thought. Well, what about this? And then this isn't going to happen. Then that'll wait a second, take a deep breath, and let some of these things actually start to show up, and let the other person talk, and sort of let some time and space pass. So I would say this Hierophant card in the middle is super important. Being able to meditate, being able to breathe, being able to listen, to ask the questions that you need. That's going to save you a lot of time, a lot of potential difficulty. This isn't your outcome. It's just something to be aware of because it's in the crowning position. So you can, and for me, the crowning position is often what's in your head. So you want to let go of the stuff that's frustrating you. This is passion, though, and passion can be used in either direction. So some of you might decide to take something that you really, really care about and have fun with it and put more energy into it. I just noticed the little cat that is playing with the crab in the corner. Try to be careful about how your emotions spill out over on someone else. Again, this is about, we see the cats getting into trouble. Sometimes we can't help but say what we want to say, right? And you know that it may not be the best time or the best way. These two cards together are saying that you really want to be cognizant of the effect of your words and the timing of what you say and how you say it. So just measure that out a little bit and be smart. And, if somebody, like this little, could be a Cancer in your life. It could also just be someone that's not in a good space. If somebody in your life has a tendency to also kind of take the bait, don't do it this month. Focus instead on working on your own emotional happiness, creating some harmony. And there is a playful energy there. Just make sure that the other person is ready for that. So being on the same level, having the same sort of understanding of what's going on, this is where, you know, the emotional IQ is going to step in. You really have to sort of read the person and read the situation a little bit, okay? So there's a lot of change happening with respect to your goals, with work, with self-worth, with your vision of what you want to be doing here. So we have the Wheel of Fortune card, which I love. It was reversed, which is basically showing that some of the action that you're taking right now may not be moving you towards your goal, or you might have decided, I need to take a slight change. Maybe it's just a little one. Maybe you're taking a right angle. Maybe you're going to go in a completely different direction. Give yourself a chance to look at that. I mean, the Wheel of Fortune is cool because you can decide, like, I want to try something else and I want to experience that for a little bit. This wheel is almost like the television Wheel of Fortune, where different things will come up. So imagine that you could spin your life or spin your energy or your thoughts in a different direction and try this. Then go for it. That's what this whole life is about. So for some of you, it's just a focus on changing something up in your life, okay? If you're trying to sell something, it's interesting, this one actually is pointed at the house and I paid attention to that. The timing may be off with this because the card is reversed. So big sales, I would say wait a little bit. Sell of like a luxury item or a house or a big ticket item, wait on that. But when it's coming to sort of things like, I want to invest in my future, I think this is a great time for that. It's just going to say that it's going to take longer than you think. A lot of times the Wheel of Fortune can indicate a 1-year change, like 4 seasons, just like the World card. A little bit less with this. It can be like 10 months instead of 12. But in order to make some of these changes happen, some additional timing is needed. So don't be afraid to do that. And don't be afraid to sort of shift up your the investments that you're doing, your investment of time and energy as well. Overall, I feel pretty good that you did get the Wheel of Fortune as your primary resource card. So there's a lot at stake. There's a lot to do. And for some of you, your happiness is also tied into that career opportunity, okay? Let's go ahead and expand the forecast, and we're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. I'll periodically pull some of these cards back in with a new perspective based on what we're seeing here. We're going to start with your health card. This is mind, body, and spirit. The card was reversed, but I want to pull it up right so we can see it. It says, when I lean on certainty and faith, I change my mind about the world that I see. So a lot of words in this deck. When I lean on certainty and faith, I change my mind about the world I see. So one thing that I'm seeing with this basically is you see what you're willing and ready to see. And if you're open to looking at things from a different perspective and feeling more confident about yourself, others are going to return that in kind. I really feel like self-confidence is going to play a big role in this, and also just the ability to not limit your vision, something that I've been trying to say a lot. So have faith in yourself, be certain about what you're trying to do and how you're trying to do it, but also look at that big eyeball, that's your third eye. Look at things from a different perspective this month. Anything is possible. So we're looking at health. If you're not happy, this is a choice this month to do something proactive about it and to focus on how you can effectively sort of shift the needle into a better position. I do think it's important for those of you that have a family history of hypertension, of heart disease, blood pressure, whatever, to pay attention to that, because the Three of Swords shows that just like we need to heal the heart center, there might be some work to be done there. So that's more for those of you that have a history of that, but all of us will benefit from trying to let go of the burden that we hold into that space sometimes, because it can manifest itself as, like I said, hypertension or like high blood pressure. So focusing on moving through, breaking through the heart space will be really important. The other thing with health, as I'm looking at the cards here, if you're trying to have a baby, the fact that we have the strength card reversed attached to this, it's telling me that your physical sort of exhaustion could have something to do with the ability to conceive, for those of you that are women and trying to get pregnant. For the rest of you, the moon card is about emotional stability, and also with the 9 of Cups in reverse, if you've had something in your life that's just causing anxiety and you feel depressed, whether it's a one-time thing or you suffer with depression, this is a chance to really get a handle on that. There's nothing bad about asking for help. That was one of the messages. It's a sign of strength, and it will help you get the tools that you need to be productive. And that's really what this is all about. The Wheel of Fortune at the end is to get you on that path of being able to feel good about yourself and to get back to what you really want to focus on. So I think emotional strength plays a big role in physical strength this month and physical happiness. And if you are moving, it could be stressful. Give yourself time and energy. This is not easy. And if you're, again, breaking up, the same thing. Or if you've lost someone in your life, the Six of Swords is a very subtle death card, but it can involve death or loss of some sort. It takes time. So just give yourself time through all of these things. Looking at wealth, which to me is not just about money, but it's also about self-worth and how you feel about the opportunities being placed in front of you. We have charity here, prayer and contemplation, connect with heaven, ask and you shall receive. This was really strongly connected to the message that I had about letting others know what you need. You can let the universe know. You can let other people in your life know. The reversal of this card is saying sometimes we wish people could read us, but that can kind of bring in people that can be manipulative. So it's better to sometimes state intentions, correct anyone if they have made a false assumption about what's going on, and be strong. And with charity too, to me, this is about being able to be kind and to give back and to help others who might be in that place where they're struggling with all of that. So you'll be more effective if people understand who you are and what you're trying to do, as I said earlier. We talked already about the Wheel of Fortune. To me, this could for some of you mean that it's just time to leave something that is creating a sense of unhappiness and move more towards something that brings a sense of fulfillment. And it can be immediate. It could be something that you set into motion over the next year or two. It does feel like that's a good move if that's something that you want to do. You might be burning the candle at both ends this month because the Strength card is reversed. Stand up for yourself, be strong, work, like I said, smarter, not necessarily harder. I'm always surprised how much I can get done sometimes in a couple of hours if I just set my mind to it. And I have to right now. Like I said, like many of you, I work 3 jobs. I do this, I see clients, and I'm also a writer. And to make the 3 things come together sometimes is challenging. So I don't get as much time in any of them as I'd like. So I have to be the best that I can with the time that I'm given. And I believe that the universe gives us exactly what we need to get stuff done. So I just lean on that, and I will pray to God in the universe. I'm like, this is the time that I've got. Make me the best that I can be, and I'm going to show up. But I always show up. So try to show up and just be an open channel. And whatever you do, that's the best you can do. You can go to bed tonight saying, I did what I could do. And that's all that anybody asks of you, especially your higher self. So hopefully that helps a little bit. You can't do any more than what you can do with the time that you have, but put your 110% in it so that you can go to sleep and feel good about it. See if there's anything else. I think we hit on it. You have an attractive energy actually this month. That's one thing that I missed. So once you sort out your emotional state and start to really feel good about things, if you start to even put in a little bit more energy, if you show the love, that gets reciprocated. That could end up opening up some sort of an opportunity in the future for you. So it's a good time to get in touch with your passionate side and to show that with anything that you're investing in. If you're retired, this could just be a choice on putting more into something, a project or a relationship, and you'll see a return on that. So we looked at health and wealth, looking at love and relationships. We have golden opportunity. Important doors are opening for you right now. Walk through them. This card was reversed. A lot of these today were reversed in this area here. But for this one, don't be afraid to try something new. And I think that for many of us, it's kind of scary sometimes, right? To think about getting out of our comfort zone. And there's risk associated with that too. Don't worry about it. You can handle whatever risk is there. This is okay for you. And I would say if we look at what this is, it's attached to passion. It's also attached to the fact that physically the job that you're doing is starting to, for some of you, create more of a burden than it is maybe giving you like whatever money you're getting, it's not enough. That's what I'm seeing here. So I think that that's really, really important. And as we look here in the outcome, we have the footprints card here. And for many of you, this is destiny, actually. I want you to remind yourself that you're not alone. And if you go back to this sort of, there's a poem, Footprints in the Sand, that basically, I would say God in the universe is always there with you. And it's not just that, it's your higher self. And I want you to realize and own your own divinity, because in this moment in time, it's important for us all to stand strong and to hold one another up. So this is a time when, if there's difficulties in your family or friends or work relationships, it's really important to try to leave a clean slate if you can, because everybody's going through a lot. And so if you need to go your own way, that's the other thing that I see with this sort of path card is, this is your time, this is your direction. Don't be afraid to move towards the goal that feels right for you. And that's the main sort of culmination of all the messages in front of us. I want to do a quick review of everything, and then we'll get into the soul path, where we can focus on how to clear your mind, how to be stronger, stand up for yourself, and how to open up those opportunities, okay? So let me go ahead now and grab all of these cards here, and we'll do a review. Okay, so to be successful this month, strategizing is more important now than possibly it ever has been for you. Think 1 or 2 steps ahead, and this is going to help prepare you for any of the curveballs that come your way. This also helps open up synchronicities. And just to remind you guys what synchronicities are, it's sort of a sign where everything comes together because you are in the right place at the right time, because you've set it up. It's all ready. It just feels right on a soul level. You're being put into something that you're called to do. It's better than something that's serendipitous, which is a quote unquote happy accident. A synchronicity you've worked to manifest on some levels. So when it comes through, it kind of feels like it would feel when you have an epiphany, like I have to do this. So when you know what you're trying to do, you allow the universe to open that kind of aha moment up for you. And also, you're going to be able to save time later, oceans of time. That's what I saw in my meditation, was this vast ocean. And, you know, there's only so much space you can move across. You have to kind of be smart about how you're traveling over that energy. Take time this month and address anything that's coming through as a quote unquote 7 of Swords energy, where basically someone, be it yourself or someone else, is not being accountable. So be open and honest and transparent if something like that happens. And if you can, try to challenge an opportunity to resolve this, see what the common ground is. Otherwise, it is a make or break it thing where you might decide to walk away. Your personal balance is important this month. Work-life balance, relationship balance. You know, a lot of us juggle more than one thing at a time. Just make sure that you're feeling supported in this process. You may be called to step to a leadership position at work, at school, in the community, in your family. And this is going to, for some of you, tag, or I should say tap you out a little bit, because you're going to have to also try to spend some time in relationships, because family, love life, friendships may also be pulling at you. Your sort of challenge is, how can I harmonize? How can I make sure that both are coming together? The answer that I told you earlier was to work smarter. Sometimes after a certain amount of hours or a certain amount of time, you've done all you can do. Even if it's just with a friend or family member, if you talk for 3 or 4 hours at a certain point, there's no more to talk about, or you're tired, or you need a break. So just honor the limits and feel free to speak up and make sure that you're putting the right amount in each bucket. More is not always more. It's sometimes just a diminishing returns. So those limits that we talked about will help save you headaches and will help you get everything done. In relationships this month, changes are happening. There's a new cycle. Some of you are falling in love. Some of you are moving out of a relationship. Some of you are just realizing perhaps the attractive energy that you have to pull in great opportunities. Whatever's going on, it's really about development and also shifting. So as you start to do that, it's going to be a make it or break it in some relationships. But one thing that you don't want to put to the wayside here is personal growth. So whether that is education, self-improvement, or it's just something else in your life where you want to be more empowered, it's really important right now for you to honor that. Okay, so don't give up. You've worked hard to get where you're at, and your soul is ready to spread its wings. I mentioned in another sign about sort of like Nine of Wands energy. I feel like you've done a lot of that as well. This month, set aside a little bit of time every day. It'd be really powerful if you could do 20 minutes. I did the math, and that opens up almost like 10 extra hours at the end of the month for you. So in that 20 minutes, whatever you're trying to accomplish, really set your heart, soul, and mind to it. And keep yourself accountable with that schedule. Don't give up. Don't miss one of those appointments. It's you. It's your soul that's waiting on the other end. The hard work that you do now pays off. The Wheel of Fortune that we see here is waiting for kind of the future for everything to come to focus. So you might need like 10 months for something to germinate a little bit, but it's worth that time. It's worth that energy. Ask for help if you need it. It actually is going to help other people respect you, to trust you, and to understand who you are and what you want, because that's really one of the leadership qualities. So don't be afraid to do that. That harmony that we were talking about earlier comes into play because of that. Okay. And finally, if you are being pushed away from something because someone thinks perhaps that you are too young or too old, try to find someone else who can work with you, or do it on your own. It's just a number, and they have no idea of the actual experience or potential that you have. This month, as we see with these two cards, it's important to explore. It's important to go with the flow. It's easier said than done, though, right? Sometimes we expect things to happen in a certain way. These cards are saying it's probably contrary to the way that you think, but it might be taking you exactly where you're supposed to be in that moment in time. Meditation and setting up a sort of schedule even that works for you, as we talked about with that 20-minute plan, is going to be really, really important as well. Knowing now that as you start to set limits in your life, you're actually going to attract a more powerful partnership, because for many of you, you're tired of this tug of war, right? Enough is enough with this. So more harmony overall is what I'm seeing. And if your partner won't work with you in that energy, it's time to move on. And if your coworkers or your boss won't work with that, it's also time to move on. You're finding your voice, many of you, this month, and that's a good thing as well. And one of the things that we see here is emptying out some of those thoughts that are bringing you a sense of frustration, sadness, fear, doubt, etc. Seven of Cups is really sort of like an emotional clearing. So give yourself a chance to do that, and especially with anything where you're trying to work through some sort of a disappointment or setback. It's not the end point of the month. This is just something that's kind of clogging the mental cogs and wheels. Active listening and speaking directly, super important. So speak up, but also listen to the best of your ability and repeat what you've heard back to make sure that you're hearing everything correctly. The Moon card had so many meanings this month, but one of them was that you have more strength than you might realize as we look at the reflection of the cat and the panther. The other thing is that your heart and your soul really does want to take flight this month. So try to find ways to leave everything with a clean slate so you don't have to go back and fix any messes. And in relationships in particular, they're more of a mirror. There's not a right or a wrong. There's things that you're learning about yourself and the other person. Choose to focus on yourself. If people in your life just don't want to show up, let them go their own way. Let them experience their own, sort of highs and lows. You don't have to fix everything. You're not the eternal mother or father figure that's going to try to bring focus into all of that. Your passion is really important. Try to channel it in a positive direction. If you need help or any sort of support, especially emotional support this month, get that. Ultimately, everything's bringing you to a place of success, fulfillment, and development. Just have to work through some of these things first, but the end card is what this is all about, what the whole journey is really bringing you towards. What you see is what you get sometimes in life. If you can see the potential, it can happen. If you believe in yourself, if you see things with conviction, you can bring it into fruition. You can breathe life into it. So I want you to try to do that when it comes to health as well. See the potential. Focus on yourself. See yourself as a valuable person in the equation. And we see that with the Strength card, the Page card, and the Wheel of Fortune here, showing, listen, my voice matters. I'm a good leader, and I'm ready to take on the challenges in front of me. So when we look at wealth here, we have that it's really important for you to also ask the universe for what you need too. And to this contemplation piece and the prayer piece, to me, this is like Two of Wands. And contemplation can be kind of connecting that to like the High Priestess. I want you to see it, and then I want you to do it. And that's going to help you. There's a combination here. These are two seer cards, really. So this is seeing it, and this is really bringing it into the High Priestess energy and actually making it happen. With wealth, I like that we actually have the Wheel of Fortune, but in order to get to the Wheel of Fortune, you have to get past something that's kind of taking your focus and holding you back a little bit. This is your chance to release the pain and focus on how you are strong and you can get past that. For love and relationships, there's a new chance, there's a new opportunity. It says important doors are opening for you right now, walk through them. I talked to Libra yesterday about a room filled with doors. And one of the things that, is part of this message, I'll talk about the last card in a second, is that I feel like many of those doors open and close. They're not always open. So if there's a relationship opportunity, like a business partnership, a love opportunity, a friendship that comes through, and you feel compelled to explore it, you should, because this is something special. It's not going to always be there. And so there's an ephemeral quality or a time limit associated with this. So make sure that you're honoring that limit, because something could pass you by otherwise. And if you have an opportunity in your life, a new job that potentially requires a move, it is something you have to seriously weigh out with your partner. And if it is something that's a once in a lifetime opportunity, that's a tough choice, but it looks like it's a golden opportunity. So I want you to think really long and hard before passing up something like that. Okay. And finally, we have the footprints here in the sand. There's something else that I want to mention with this is your legacy. What is your legacy? What are you trying to leave for your children, for the planet? If you're like me and you don't have children, you just have a fur baby. What are you trying to do that makes a difference on this earth? And more importantly, what do you want for your soul to kind of be able to look back on and think, we did a good job. That was a good life. It's not measured by all of the traditional success metrics that I think we've been told as a kid. It doesn't mean you have to get married, have a great job, have children, all this other stuff. You come to the planet to learn some things. Sometimes it's one big lesson, sometimes it's a series of lessons. After that, you get lots of choices on what you want to explore next. It's like graduating from university or high school or whatever. You then get to sort of have free will. So with the free will that you have, and assuming that you've already started to work on some of those big milestones, what else do you want to do? What do you want to be remembered for? It's really important. We don't talk about this enough in readings, in life. When you go to your general physician, they don't ask, how's everything going? And are you also tracking to your life goal? How is that working? I feel like that needs to be part of this. And have you thought about your life goal? Because we need to have a purpose. We need to have a point. Otherwise, we're just phoning it in. The catalyst cards are a reminder that we are constantly discovering. We are constantly trying to shift and change with the flow of energy that's presented with us. So you got 2 for a reason. And I would say try to work with that energy of exploration and fluidity. All right, let's go a little deeper now, looking at the soul path. I need a little drink here of my tea, and we'll see what's coming through for you. Okay, I want to focus on clearing out your thoughts. I've periodically looked in, there's a lot of chat today, but I've periodically looked over there and I see some of you are having a hard time focusing. So let's take a look and see how we can clear up your thoughts and if there's a general message about focus. Okay, so Ace of Wands reversed, but I like the Ace of Wands because it shows the ability to do anything you set your mind to. It shows great ideation and brainstorming possibilities. But just like the Seven of Cups in reverse, look at all the things flowing out of that fire of the soul. It's like too much, right? She looks overwhelmed. Just grab onto one of them. This month, I would like you to take a single idea, and there is no wrong idea. Take the one that is either sitting in your head the most. Like sometimes if I'm trying to figure out what's important, it might be the thing that I can't get out of my head all week. I'm like, I need to do this. I need to do, okay, I'll do this. I'll do this. It's universe sort of like pushing me, poking me a little bit. So you could go for the persistent one. You could also look at something that has been with you since you were a child that you just haven't honored, that sort of zygote of an idea that's just sitting there and you're ready to now embrace it. It could also be something way outside of your comfort zone because it's fun and it's exhilarating and it's different. So either go for something that you can't get out of your head, that you've always wanted to do, perhaps because it was a childhood dream, or that you would never expect yourself doing. All of these would provide growth and fulfillment for different reasons. So, and if you can't decide on the 3 that I just mentioned, pick the first one. Just don't think it through too much. Just pick an idea and move with it. And that 20-minute challenge that I told you will help you with this. Because I often mention like cleaning the house. If you've ever had to go into a place like an old office or a relative's house and it's just cluttered, it's a mess, you can't clean the whole thing at once. You pick a space. Sometimes you pick a table. You start with a table, and then you decide to focus on a room, and then maybe you go into a closet, and then you'll go into the cupboards. You just do little pieces at a time and think, that's done, that's done, that's done. So as you start to clear and clean or renovate, like if you're in a house and you're starting to renovate, you're going to have to take the stuff out, strip the things down, remove the walls. You have to kind of pull it all away first, but one thing at a time. If you take it on all at once, it's overwhelming. So take that 20-minute challenge and just do a little bit each day. If you were even cleaning your house and you just did 20 minutes each day in something, you would notice that it looked amazing after that, okay? So little tiny pieces, and I think that's gonna be really effective for you, okay? The good news is you have a great idea, honor it. That's really what the Ace of Wands is saying. Don't let it slip by. This could be an idea for your future. It could be an idea for a product or a service. It could be an idea to help the planet. It's something that has a lot of potential. You have a lot of potential, so invest in it, okay? As I look at what's next here, I really want to see how you had some messages about relationships. How can we focus on the attractive energy of the lovers? And how can we focus on also giving you more sense of strength so that you don't always have to ask for people to do things? So I guess calling in a higher relationship, or healing older relationships so that they can get into that harmonious level here. So a lot of pages, a lot of aces this month. Okay, so we have the Page of Pentacles. This is the roadmap card that I was kind of talking about earlier, strategizing a few steps ahead. So when you're traveling, sometimes it's fun to just get in the car and drive, but you're probably not going to drive forever doing that. You're going to have to stop somewhere. Eventually, you're going to have to get out a map to figure out where you are, how much gas you have. You have to plan eventually. So what we're seeing with this one, and it makes sense because Pentacles is all about grounding. So I want you to ground yourself in some sort of a plan, even if it's just, this is how much time I can spend on it, or this is how much money, or this is when I want to do it. Start with something simple and easy and tangible. And then you can also kind of pull in some of the Ace of Wands with this, and even some of the Nine of Cups, the dreaming card, the ideation. But this card is really what's going to help you pick your direction. It's interesting because we have a tower in one direction, we have a town in another. This tower could be either the tower or something different, like it could be part of a castle. But I would say you have to really lay out the plans carefully and spend some time thinking about things this month. That's going to help you. And when we're looking at relationships, if you know what you're trying to accomplish in your life and who you are, again, people who show up won't be trying to teach you that. Sometimes when we don't do that, we basically call in teaching relationships where people are focused more on helping us see facets of our soul, right? Kind of like this crystal. There's all these different sides to this crystal. If you know all of those sides, you're not going to necessarily look for somebody to reveal them to you. But if you don't, people come in to teach, to test, and to help us understand those different facets of our soul. So get to know yourself a little bit better. And as you do that, it's going to be easier to bring in people that respect and honor. Oh, that's who you are. Cool. That's who I am too, or that's what I'm looking for in my life. And it brings in more harmony. So having a plan and having a sort of good understanding of who you are. This is kind of like your book of life, the book of your soul there, that little journal card. And you could actually focus on doing some journaling. And I've talked about journaling being epiphanies and big ideas, not sort of a dialogue of what you've been doing today. So focus on that being a powerful kind of connection, and you could actually start to get that roadmap by just sketching down the ideas as they're coming to you. With the Page of Pentacles, the other thing is new job, for sure. A new job or a new way of doing something, or going back to school. It's an investment card. The card is in the receiving position, which means for some of you being open to receive it as well and stating an intention. I want this. And it's easier said than done, right? Sometimes saying I'm ready for this new job, or I'm ready. I'd like to be considered for this role, etc. Or I want to try this out. All right, so let's just go into the direction card, which I think is what some of you are asking for. Help Scorpio find the right direction. 8 of Wands. Okay, this is good. So for many of you, there's just a lot that's going to be happening over the course of the next month. You can handle it. And we don't want to be sort of like Dorothy here in The Wizard of Oz, feeling like you're going to get pulled into this tornado. What you want to focus on instead is, I am managing what I can say that I'm going to be doing. I am going to actually be more of the conductor, and I'll get this under control. So I think that you can do anything that you set your mind to, but you don't have to do everything. So discernment has been a common thread through a lot of these. Clarity and discernment. I know what I want. I'll do this. I can't do this, or I won't do this, but I'm going to do, like, just setting that expectation on it. I know it keeps coming through, but there's a reason it does, and I think it will help all of you. 8 of Wands is a very, very positive and auspicious card when it comes to business and opportunities. Even though we're in a retrograde period, October, the midpoint around the 14th, 15th, there's a retrograde. So you're still probably going to be managing both the influx of work and opportunity at the beginning of the month, and then maybe some of the chaos that's in the retrograde period, but you're going to get a lot done. I see a lot of productivity over the next 6 to 8 weeks. So embrace it. Don't worry about it. I've always found retrogrades to be highly productive. You just have to be cautious about what you're doing and when you're doing it, but you can still get work done. So it's a really good time for planning. It's a good time for completing things. And if you start something just prior to the retrograde, it should be okay, even if it has to launch or complete or debut within that period. The important part is it finished before? So that then you can just continue, or have you done the requisite work to kind of have everything together so you're just wrapping up? But we have a long time before that's hitting. You have a full month right now, just about, a little bit less maybe. But you can make a lot of this time. So take care of that. If you're watching this on replay or watching it in October, you have about 2 weeks at the beginning of the month to sort of really enjoy the 8 of Wands energy and be the conductor, okay? But if we look at this just from a soul level, and I'm going to pull each card up one more time. So you have a great idea. It's time to honor it. Pick one thing and really stick to it. Then start to create a plan of attack on how you're going to do that. It doesn't have to happen overnight. And then you're going to have to manage and conduct and figure out a way to kind of move through this. Even if you're sort of in the middle of a storm, there's a calm at the middle. There's always time where you can actually take a space for yourself, which is something that I've seen a lot of this month for you as well. So you can make this work, even if you're very busy. I see some great things and some great growth potential for your sign. All right, let's get into the meditation. And as I look at all of these cards today, I'm trying to think what I want to focus on for you. I think the energy of release and traveling is coming through pretty strong here. So I want to give you that ability to look at that and also to see your potential. So I'm going to focus on, we'll take a little trip, we'll walk away from something, and we're going to focus on your soul's true reflection and what you can really do and see with that potential. Before I do the meditation, I'd love for you to hit the like and subscribe if you haven't done that already. And then we'll get into the fun stuff here, okay? Also, get comfortably seated if you haven't done that. It's important for you just to be able to listen and to kind of take in what's going on. Okay, so I'd love everybody now to close your eyes, and before we get started, do a quick scan of your mind, your body, your spirit, especially your headspace. I want you to kind of go in there and imagine that you're laying down on a nice open patch of grass. Maybe you have a blanket beneath you if you don't want to be on the grass itself. As you're looking up at the blue, crystal blue sky, I want you to pull that blue energy into your mind. Imagine that each breath you take is actually expanding your consciousness. It's opening up your mind. It's allowing you to just have clarity and to see things just as an eagle would see it, from a bird's eye perspective. Nothing but blue skies, nothing but the sun, that beautiful blue energy is coming into your body as you take a nice deep breath. Inhale. Literally coming in through the throat chakra, moving through each and every cell of your body, creating an opening and a space within those cells as well. Now focusing on the golden light of the sun, allowing that to come in through, actually I want to bring it in through your belly, through your belly button. We're going to take it in through the solar plexus and allow that to reset your power. If you feel like anyone in your life has been sort of pulling at your power, with this next breath, I want you to breathe in the energy of the sun and gently feel that connection to the person starting to fade away. So take a deep breath. As you're inhaling, really feel the light, feel the heat, feel the energy, move it into that part of your body again where the belly button is. And on the exhale, you can put your hands on that space. Feel like you are reclaiming it, that you are owning who you are, that you could put into that space something that you want to create, breathe life into. This is your divine right to be creative, to be happy, to be powerful. So take your power back and feel that the cords that are connected in that space are starting to release. If you're keeping any cords, they're crystal clear, they're open. Otherwise, you're just going to cut and sever that space so that you can use your energy for whatever you want to do. Gently in your meditation, only imagine that you are sitting up and you're looking around at the world around you. You're kind of taking on a 3 of Wands pose where you can see what you're trying to accomplish come towards you. You can see the ships coming into the shore. And you are feeling this sense for the first time ever, like I'm clear, I feel confident. It may not happen right now, but I'm starting to see that my energy is creating. I'm an agent of creation. Combining the 3 of Wands with the 6 of Swords, I want you to go meet the boats at the dock. It's something that I was talking to another sign about. Let's not wait for them to come to us. Let's go meet our future. Let's see what's going on. So leave those 3 wands up on the hill and take your knapsack and your backpack and walk down the hill. Step away from anything that you don't need in your life. It could be an old relationship, an old family member, someone in your life where it just feels like this person, this thing, this connection, it's no longer who I am. I can't do this anymore. As you walk away, wave with love, with light, and feel the cords disconnecting. And imagine now that each step that you take, because you're going downhill, you've already come up the hard part. Now you're going towards your destination. You feel the sense of levity, of hope, of optimism. And as you get to the docks that are in front of you and you see the ships there, I want you to pause for a moment and look at the water. Look at your reflection in the water. And we're going to use this moment here to use a singing bowl. I want you to look into the reflection and maybe imagine that you're sitting on the dock, you're putting your feet in the water so you can feel the fluid energy of the ocean or the lake beneath you. But as you stare at your reflection, you start to see where your third eye is. You see this golden beam of light that's starting to kind of pulsate and shine out of that space. And you start to see yourself shift a little bit too. You're not solely human. You have this sort of, you have a divine energy about you, something that you might see in a painting or in an icon in a church. You can see a halo behind your head. You can see the third eye energy beaming out. And as that beam shines from the reflected surface of the water back at you, you're actually receiving a clear vision of who you are. So for those of you that are seeking it out, clarity will come. It may not come exactly in this meditation, but in the days that follow and the dreams that follow after this, you're going to start to receive it. So just know on a subtle level, the work is being done. And just listen as I play the singing bowl and allow your higher self to give you a spiritual download. This particular singing bowl is actually attuned to the third eye. So it's appropriate that we're using that in the meditation. So allow your third eye to open up in your physical body here, and then also allow that spiritual third eye from the reflection to show you who you are, to show you your potential, to remind you of your path. a deep breath. Feel now that you have received a plan of attack, if you will, a blueprint for your soul. Honor this blueprint. Feel a sense of optimism, perhaps, that you haven't before. And as you look into the water, I want you to see what it is that you have been dreaming of. See the dream starting to become a reality. Touch that water for a second and see it ripple. And I want you to see all of the potential. It's almost like you're flipping a page in a book. You can see how it's going to unveil, how it's going to change. And as you touch it, I also want you to feel the energy of your higher self coming through. And if there was any final message to be received, it's being received. And before you let go of the meditation, I want you to shake hands with your higher self and make an agreement that you're going to work on something together. It's there with you. It's always there with you, your higher self. What we're doing today is just giving you a connection, establishing that connection. So you're no longer alone. You're no longer going to feel this sort of lack of clarity. There is a guiding hand. It's your higher self. It's God energy. It's the divine coming through and showing you exactly how to do it and lifting you up as you work on your path. You're not alone. Take one last breath. Inhale. Bring your hands together. Create some heat, some warmth, some friction. Put your left hand on your heart, your right hand on top of that. Create some healing energy there as well, since we saw the Three of Swords at the crowning position. Melt the energy, melt the tension. Bring that sense of calm that you felt when you saw yourself in the lake or in the river or in the ocean, and then bring that sense of who you are now into your future, into your present, into your future. Breathe life into your dreams. Gently open your eyes when you're ready. Welcome back, everybody. And hopefully you enjoyed the messages and the meditation that we just went through today. I just want to take a second as we wrap up here to thank everybody, especially returning and new people. I appreciate you spending time with me today. I'm going to give you some ways to stay in touch with me. It's all on my website, which is nicholasashbaugh.com. By the way, if you did happen to give support, I will thank you later in a pinned comment on the replay. But in the meantime, a way to sort of stay in touch with me is to join me across social media. And on my website, you'll be able to find links for all of these different social media platforms. But my username on everything is just my full name, no additions, @NicholasAshbaugh on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I actually use stories and the community tab on YouTube to communicate upcoming videos. So it's a good way to know what's next. And if you missed anything, you can catch up. And Patreon is a great way to also support me on a monthly basis. I know a lot of you do that already through being a channel member. It's the same benefits. So just pick whatever works best for you. And I appreciate you. Channel members get some extra icons and some fun text options that Patreon folks don't, but you both have the same perks. If you also want to join me on Twitter, it's a slightly different username. It's Ashbaugh. Just a reminder, I never message people directly on those platforms. There was someone that did that on Facebook saying that they were me. I don't do that. I will always use a video or a public post or something like that to try to get the messages across. If you'd like to give back through PayPal, you can do that through paypal.me. And the address is Nicholas Ashbaugh. All of these are on my website. And if you can't remember how to spell my name, go to the main tab on YouTube on my channel, and it'll be in the About area. And if you haven't done it already, please like and subscribe. You can click the bell icon for options, or for email reminders rather, as well. And I have a newsletter too, and I usually put a link to that under the video. So you can click the read more, and I put all of the recap as well of all the channel messages. Just give me like half a day. It takes time to do all of that. Anyway, just want to say thank you to everybody for showing up today. It's been my pleasure and my honor to read for you. It's Friday. I'll be off on Saturday, but I'll be back on Sunday and Monday for the next two signs. You can see the schedule on my website. Thanks again to both Ryan and Maria for your help today, and everybody for showing up. I hope you have an amazing October in front of you, some great things and some opportunities opening up again with a change in career or a change in sort of like overall focus when it comes to what you're working on. So that's exciting. I can't wait to see how it factors out for everybody. All right. In the meantime, much love and light, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.